So I'm happy to announce that there's been some progress since last week. Yeah, I was struggling. So what I was trying to do was to connect the information when a user practices a session and then logs a session, that I'll have a page where they can see all their progress, not like streaks or nothing, but just like simple graphs, like charts and things. But yeah, to get that working exactly how I wanted it, like, and to make it fit exactly with the logic that I've already set up in my app, for me, it wasn't the most easy task. And what I'm finding, what the LLMs are telling me back, is that what's making it actually kind of difficult is, apparently, according to them, that there's certain parts that you use, like the properties panel. I don't know if whoever knows what I'm talking about. Great, and if not, it's like part in the program that I'm using, where you can, I don't know, choose text font or choose like certain, I don't know, like things that help you adjust whatever it is that you've just like put into your app that you want to work on. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Anyway, I apparently, according to the LLMs, they were giving me the feedback in the week that their job to tell me what I needed to know to help me accomplish the task was being made more difficult, because they say allegedly that there's not that much, or there's not enough kind of like information online for them to about this particular properties panel within Flutterflow, to help them to give me the information that I need. But I think what I realized, I feel like this week was kind of like a breakthrough as far as my own learning goes with doing this, because I just feel like I've been flying blind the whole time. Again, like, I can remember, and that's been like, a lot of my energy's gone to like sitting there and like trying to remember which chat with which LLM did I say that thing in that's going to be useful, and like what time, and like, and then I have to go and teach, and then I have to try and like just put that down when I'm right in the middle of a thing that's super difficult. And then I just like, okay, I gotta go now. And it's like, but that's kind of been my process of just like having my memory and being like, oh yeah, that was here. Yeah, cool. And 99% of the time I'm actually like, I'm pretty good at that. And I think it's like, it comes often, I guess it comes a lot from learning Suzuki violin since the age of 3, because that starts off teaching you to learn music like it's the mother tongue, that you're not learning to read notes straight away. You're using your ears and observation, and you're remembering all the tunes. It's all off by heart, everything. So that's a skill since an early age that I've been honing. So I feel like I'm applying. It's very, very cool. Like, I find that, all the crossovers, all the things that you've learned in some completely other field, like, playing the violin or, whatever, and then applying that to coding or not coding or vibe coding or whatever you want to call it, low amount of coding thing. It's very cool. So that's kind of been my main source of like how to navigate through this thing. And and then if the LLM's kind of telling me this or that, and I'm just like, mate, I think you're hallucinating, potentially. Like, I'm getting better at that, but I can remember, I'm just like, yeah, but you said this and they said that and blah blah blah, and kind of piece it together like this. And yeah, it's like, it's not the easiest way to do it, but that's just the way that I am doing it, and it's so far so good. Even if it's, obviously there's quicker way. Obviously it would be great if I was a studied software engineer. That would obviously make it much easier, but this is not the point here. I'm teaching myself a completely new skill with the current technology, Claude, predominantly Claude, Gemini. Those two actually have been my main go-to. So it was with Grok, and then I just kind of switch, and then it's learning as well, like what each of them are you know, they all have their kind of high points and low points, and yeah, anyway. But so this week the breakthrough has kind of been for me what I feel is like what I realized at the end of a week. Like I don't even know that I ever did this before, but I actually did an all-nighter. I did it like I've been at my boyfriend's place and I came back home and I was like, I really want to finish this chart things, because I'd finished it, but then I sat and I got some feedback and also looked at myself and like, oh man, like this one chart, that didn't even make any sense. Like that the information that would come into that, because of the logic of my app, like that would just be the same like for every day. It'd just be like maybe one day it wouldn't be there, but every other day it would still be like the same amount of minutes, and that's really not very exciting or motivating. So I was like, okay, damn, right, I got to fix that. And also at the moment my app, I'm working on it in or the very start with I had it like in 20 million languages, because like, oh wow, I can just do it with one click. And then I realized, oh actually, but it looks like funky in the different languages, and that's a whole bunch of work that right now I just can't cope with doing. So I have narrowed it down to, you know, the people. I'm in Germany, but I'm from Australia. So English is my native language, but most of my users, like my music students, most of them are at the moment they're German speaking. So I have and I'm in Germany, so that makes sense. So I've got German, English, and Mandarin Chinese. And that's what I'm working with at the moment. So I was able in the week to make the charts to be, because they got like special labels, we can't do the usual translating trick on them, like with just one click, and maybe it looks weird and maybe the translations aren't perfect, but it's easy to go in there and change them. But with this one, it's like it's kind of like stuck to the chart, and you have to do this like this kind of thing within the computer to get the very, very simple looking results. So if you looked at it, you'd be like, yeah, okay, cool, not like whatever. But just to get that done, it was just like not a straightforward task, at least for me. And it involved more than just like a click of a button and then, you know, checking the translations, let's just put it that way. So I realized I had so German translation was working, English obviously was working, but the Chinese Mandarin didn't work. I was like, no. And so so I came back home, and then I was like, no, I'm gonna do this. I was already 6 days in to this thing, and I'm just like, I've got holidays from teaching at the moment, so I've got a bit extra time. Those holidays are almost finished. But I was like, I will not like spend the whole holidays, the whole 2 weeks on this stupid freaking chart things. Like I was happy. I actually was, because I already celebrated that I got them done. Like I don't know, after like 2 days of just working on it, because I'd done in last week. So I'm in the second week of my holidays now. So the first week of them last week, I managed like in a day to do like one more of the main pages of the app. It's not a core feature, but it's still like, it's a nice feature, and it's part of like, oh, I want that, it's part of the menu. So I was like, that has to be working. And I got that done very quickly, even though I had done a lot of groundwork on that before and left it some months ago, because I'm like, this is in the, like, it was too hard and was distracting me from the core stuff. But now that the core is basically done, not perfect, there's some cache issues and things, and basically like my beta testers have to delete, as far as I know, like it seems so far. I'm going to check with them next week, so it'll be interesting. But it does appear that they have, like, each week when the logic kind of refreshes, that they actually have to delete the app and reinstall it so that it actually keeps then working properly. I don't know. But anyway, there's like, I don't feel so worried about that, which is nice. So let's just say that the core features were done. And so now I'm working on a bit more fancy things that I still want done for when I actually launch it properly, which is still a little while off, because work to do. So anyway, so that got done really quickly. I was like, amazing, that's great. And then I got onto the next thing, which was the charts. And then I thought after a day's work on that, I was like, I did it. And then I would put it into test flight, the Apple like beta testing mode thing, and so I could put it on my phone and have a look. And then I was like, yeah, woohoo! And then like, no, I did it. Oh my god! I was like, just like, oh man, like never celebrate too soon. Yeah, never do. I usually don't, because I've learned that lesson numerous times. But yeah, anyway, like I thought it was done. Like everything was looking like it had green ticks next to it. So anyway, didn't work. So then I was like another, I don't know, 5 days on it, and then I left the house, went to my boyfriend's place, came back. And then when I was there, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to like just check if it's actually this time it's worked. And okay, English good, German good, the information is going to the chart and it's working. And then Chinese, Mandarin, no. Okay, fuck. So anyway, but it's okay. It was all right. I was like, okay, but that's okay. It's not the worst, because I kind of was starting to get an idea of what to do and things. Came back and yeah, and I was just like, no, I've got to do it. So I just worked, I just did it. And it was like, I don't know, like 2 a.m, then it was 5 a.m, then it was 10 a.m. And I'm like, AIs, you, like, come on. It's so early here. I got to sleep. Like, give me the answer, please. And they were like, you just do this and you just do that. I'm like, oh, I'd already done all of those things, and they're hallucinating. I'm probably hallucinating by the stage as well. So we're all hallucinating. But somehow through all of that, we all came to the right. I think it was Claude that had the breakthrough. And then I was like, okay, fine. I hadn't been chatting with Grok for a while, just because. And he was getting a bit wild and wacky, and I got a bit annoyed as well, because we were going really good from the get-go. I think I was started with him actually for the very, very beginning, with like just building my idea for the app in the very, very first place. So we were good, and then I think it was when they put Grok 4 update, that just magically the whole chat just disappeared. I was like, okay. So then I didn't have this kind of like real connection to Grok anymore. I was like, yeah, right, that's, okay, we had that, but now I've got to restart and tell you about all the things again, and I'm kind of a bit bored of repeating myself to you. And I was like, I don't know that I trust you right now because you did that. Like, that's not cool, right? Because it could happen again. But over time I'm learning better, like, to keep change logs and lots of documents, and tell this AI that, and make an update notification, then update the main initial like roadmap from the very beginning, that's like change. What are we up to now? I think version 4 point something. Anyway, so yeah, working it all out. But yeah, we got so Claude was just like, oh, you could do like a custom thing. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, hey, Grok, is this a good idea? Claude just said to do this. I've been like this for like 6 days. I'm almost 7 days. I haven't slept since like, I don't know, like the other day. And I really need this done. Like, please. And tell me, is this good? And Grok's like, yeah, that's great. Claude's on it. And I was like, okay, amazing. That's great. And so did it, and then it worked. It freaking worked. It worked. So like the graphs aren't perfect, but the thing is, what I learned, like, this is a big learning curve. Like, there's a few learning curves. Like, just once I got it to the point that I was like, okay, it works. It's not, okay, like you see like minutes written on the side of the chart and you can't see the whole word, but like, that's cool. That's all right. Like, I have an idea like where to find that in the code to fix that. Because what I'd realized after a week of doing this, and realizing that this is like kind of a headache that's happened previously as well with other widgets, in the app that I put in there, is that, okay, so Flutterflow's got all this built-in stuff that makes it kind of quicker to do things. But then if you want to do some even like semi-fancy thing, or just something that like isn't just like a basic thing that there's a million, like, you got a fitness app and there's like you can go in there and you can get a template for a fitness app or something. But, there's certain things that I want in there specifically because based off like being a teacher, that I know is like I have a specific philosophy of how I teach. And from my experience as a teacher, because I've been teaching violin since, I don't know, 20 years or something, and I've been playing since my whole life. And so I have a kind of a way that I see that is useful and helpful and encouraging and motivating. And, even if the student doesn't practice, like, I'm building an app to try to help them practice and, and these things. So when with the app, like, there's certain things that even though it's like quite simple stuff, like there's like a little way that I particularly want things to show up so that it has, because I know that if it looks another kind of way or if it works a different kind of way, then it gives kind of a negative feedback for the student. And, I don't want to, I want to put my own teaching philosophy and experience into the app, which makes sense, right? Which is also what's pretty amazing about this, I find, because, I'm not a software engineer, but I'm a teacher, but now I'm learning how to be a software engineer. So it's like I'm doing market research on myself. I'm asking, the community is like me, and then also obviously my students and everyone else and teachers and things, and anyone else that is kind enough to be helping me with feedback and being a beta tester at the moment for me. Yes, like we're all part of the feedback thing, and which is pretty cool. So that means though that like with some of the widgets, even though it's like you got this ready-made thing in Flutterflow that you can like drag and drop, how wonderful, and then click a few buttons so that it connects to what you need it to connect to. Some things is, again, like it might be some other software engineer comes in and is just like, oh, that's easy, you just do finished. But for me, like never doing this before, it's not that simple. And also the widgets, I'm finding like it's actually, so like the widgets don't work as I actually want them to. And what's been happening is because I'm doing like, this, making this app that's based off of all that, that the widgets don't actually function. They can't do everything that I want them to do, or they don't look as I want them to. It's just, you get this and you're just like, oh, well, that kind of looks a bit crappy or a bit boring, or like I want it to do this or I want it to do that, and it just looks like that. And then you're like, okay, well, at least it works. But what I realized after this week is that what had happened is like I've got in Gemini and Claude, and I think in Grok, no, not so much, but definitely Gemini and Claude, my main go-to guys, that I'd put documentation into the project information in them. And there's a part in that said, because I had like these headaches before, and also like sometimes they're trying to do fancy things where it makes just sense to actually use what Flutterflow is put in there. Like there's a lot of amazing stuff that makes things a lot easier. But I'd had troubles before where the LLMs were trying to do some fancy thing. It's just like, nah, you could have just done it like in like 2 or 3 clicks, and then we would have had the solution. You didn't need to do it like this and this and that. And they're like fighting the system, like the simplicity of the system. And then we're getting this complex thing, and I'm ending up like with a headache and just sitting there for like 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, and like, oh man, please, like this must be finished soon. Let me move on to the next thing. I need to move on. But yeah, that's what I like this week. That's like, we actually went through, the AI was like, the LLMs were taking me through, like it felt like every single possibility that was there. They're like, try this and now try that and try that. And they were trying, because in this document that I put into Gemini and Claude, it says in there, yeah, I want them to use like the native Flutterflow way and not some fancy, well, actually it was mainly to avoid these custom functions that seem very, very unstable. Maybe it's better now, but really unstable in Flutterflow. And I had a whole bunch of crashing with that. In the summer break, I had like 2 weeks like trying to redo work that was already working since months. It was really irritating. And now it's back to working again, and I didn't even change anything. But that was like, yeah, like 2 weeks wasted time. Like, anyway, but so that was super frustrating. So I put in there in the documentation to them, like, don't use custom functions. But I realized this week, after a week of all this headache stuff, that they'd interpreted that as like, no, never any code that's not, like, only use Flutterflow widget and Flutterflow like buttons and stuff that you can do within that environment. Don't use ever any custom anything else. And then I realized that's what was going on, that they thought that, yeah, custom functions meant like anything custom. And even I was telling them in the week, I'm like, oh, why don't we just use this custom code expression where, they kind of make me this beautiful little code. It's nice and neat, and 99% of the time it works. And I was like, why don't you just give me one of them? And they're like, oh, no, we have to do it this other way. But that was because they were going off my instruction that I hadn't given them clearly enough, so that they understood that it's okay to use custom stuff, just not this very specific one kind of custom stuff. So anyway, that was really good to realize. So I've told them now that that's okay. You can use it. It's actually better in some cases. And now I'm a lot less scared of building my own widgets with the code and getting them to do that, because after this week I'm just like, oh, okay, I think I kind of get a little bit more about what's going on here. And then, so the whole week they'd been, I don't know, if I wrote a list of like every possibility and option and combination of things to try and get these charts working exactly how I wanted them to work, and that wasn't working, like, I think I have a pretty long list. And then Claude, like, yeah, we all hallucinating around after not sleeping and long chats with the LLMs. And then Claude was just like, just make a custom widget. And then here's a code for it. I'm like, that just sounds way too easy. And the thing is, like, it actually was easy. It wasn't way too easy. It was just beautifully easy. And so the charts still don't look like perfect, but because of that, and because I'm like, oh, I have more of an idea of what I'm actually looking at, what I just put into the system, I'm like, okay. So that, then I start to realize, like, there's all these wheels out there. Like, there's so many people that invented all these different kinds of wheels, and I don't need to reinvent the wheel every single time. And so now I'm like, I'm about to start, I don't know, I'm kind of like, I mean, the last 2 days are just like recovering from not sleeping and dealing, oh man, just like, yeah, anyway. But yes, but anyway, I've also learned that it makes sense to take time to come up with the next part of the plan before you just like go in there and do it. Because you could go in there and do it, and the LLM is going to take you like all kinds of places that you don't necessarily need to go, or maybe don't want to go. So I take my time to come up with a good plan with them, and I'm cross-referencing between them. So now I've got ChatGPT, I've got Claude, I've got Gemini, I've got Grok. I deleted DeepSeek because I was like, I don't know that I really want that one on my phone. Just saying. But yeah. So I've got them checking with all of them, and then finally got a plan for the next thing that I'm going to put into the app. But then I'm also like, today I'm just like, maybe I'm going to do this part first and then do that part. I've got like executive decisions with little knowledge. It's kind of, it's like, is that a good idea? Is that going to make sense to do that first? Yeah. So because the two tasks that I've got to do now, they're both like, one of them is big, but I kind of know, like, I know how the logic goes. I understand it, and I know that I have faith in myself now that I could guide the LLMs to give me the answers that I need to get that done. It's just the matter of, like, the content part. That's going to take me time to do it, though. I'm looking for creative ways currently and, like, brainstorming them in my mind, and with the LLMs obviously too, to come up with a quicker way that's still a creative way, and that the thing can be fun, but done in a much quicker way that's not going to take, 3 months to do it, to get the content together. So I'm kind of wondering, I'm like, maybe I should just do that, get that done, and then do the other thing. But then the other thing is kind of a bit more scary, because it might, like, ChatGPT says it's going to take 8 days. And I'm like, when you say 8 days, I don't know if 8 days or like 8 weeks, 8 months. No, not 8. Not 8 months. It won't take 8 months, but it's I'm looking at building my first AI agent to do cool stuff inside of the app for the users, and but I don't want it to just be like some boring, crappy thing. So that's why, like, I could do the boring, crappy thing and have it in there and just be like, great, I've got this boring, crappy thing that kind of works. But I now that I've had this experience and come to realization that actually the AIs were LLMs were misunderstanding what I'd said about the custom function thing. Now I'm like, let's do the custom widgets. No, we're doing the custom widgets. We're doing the custom actions. We're doing the custom code expressions. We're just not doing the custom function thing. And then, and so they've redone the plan for me. So we will see. I doubt in a week's time that won't be finished. I don't think so. That would be insane, because I was just listening to a podcast just now, from Y Combinator people. Was it them or A16, whatever, A16Z, these people? I find them quite good. No, it was Y Combinator. And they were just like talking about agent stuff, but obviously like next level, like on some other crazy level, like for, creating some crazy ass thing. I want a crazy ass thing too, but in a realm that I just go my little step by step. But just listening to him talking, at the end of the podcast, he's like, "Don't be scared." I'm like, "Oh, sick. Okay, that's great." But it might take 2 years. I'm like, oh fuck, like 2 years, really? Okay, to make this thing. So maybe I go like Steve Jobs style, just kind of just get it done and get it out there. But I don't know if that's really Steve Jobs style. That's just like being quick style. But like, doing it and getting it out there. It's like the first iPhone wasn't perfect. Compare it to what we've got now, obviously. You see lots of these examples, like the LLMs like to tell me, but it, you just got to ship it. Just got to ship it. That's what you got to do. First iPhone wasn't the perfect one. Instagram was a piece of not so useful thing and didn't look so pretty when it first came in. And neither was Facebook, but still it got people in, and now they are what they are. And Instagram just had another change of how its layout is. And the iPhone too, it's got these, the cool glassy translucent button things. They're pretty sick. I think. Like always shifting and changing, always iterating, always, but I guess that's like the part of it. It's like this living, it's like I'm making a baby, like with the code and it's crazy. It's really like I'm making it like, it's almost like it's a living thing that I'm making, because I don't feel like it's ever going to stop. Like I wouldn't want it, like it's going to get to a point, and then when I get to that point, I'm just like, oh, but I can do this and this and that. That's going to be heaps cooler. Like, which is the point that I've come to right now. I'm like, oh man, I've just realized how I can make a whole bunch more work for myself, but that's going to elevate the app. Like, once I can crack that, which is kind of why I want to make the agent first, because just simply to make the UI, the user interface, I want to see that I can use code that's already existing that makes sense for what I'm doing, and then I can go in there and tweak it, because I have a vision. I can see it so clearly what I want, like, the user interface to look like for this particular page in my app, like, super clearly. And I even, like, I got in with Gemini and ChatGPT to, you know, get them to make me mock up versions of what my vision was. It wasn't like I was saying, hey, I want to make a cool little page for my app. I'm just like, nah, this is what I want it to look like. Help me make my vision look like a tangible thing. Let's do that. And so I got a few versions like, nah. Oh, that's closer. Oh, that's closer. And almost like, I'd say like 90% got a thing, got a proper image. Because then now I'm going to use that as my, you know, as a guide for them to be like, no, I want it to look like that. Because what happened with the chart, we'd made a custom widget with that, and I'd explained to them and gave screenshots of what I wanted to look like. And then the code works, but the charts, they don't look exactly what the screenshots that I'd made. But what that made me realize is that, like, the process of actually doing that, I'm like, oh, now I start to understand how I can make my app heaps cooler, like have like cool little, like, not talking about the animations even, like, I mean, that's one thing, that's another, you know, all these things to learn, but just simply just how the page itself looks, and the buttons, and yeah, so I'm excited about it. I feel super inspired about it, and, you know, technology is getting, like, just better and better every day, which is insane. It's going so fast. This is blowing my mind. And it's, yeah, such an incredible experience. And what I'm, yeah, just back to, like, just the learning curve and stuff, I just find it so interesting. You know, back when I was at school, in primary school, you know, well, up until the point that I was a teenager, I was good at maths, and I actually liked it. But, like, not the maths we do in the class, but, like, I did a extra math class that I really enjoyed doing, and apparently I was like all right at that. But when I did maths, I really enjoyed to look at the answer first, and then work backwards to come to the question, and then I'd be like, oh, that's how that makes sense. But then, of course, at school, you know, if you're looking at the answers first, they call you that, like, they say that you're cheating, which is like, well, no, this is just my style of learning, which is different from what we're supposed to do, and what some people board of people have said is the way that we have to do things. And anyway, so obviously, like, you know, that's not something that I was allowed to continue to do at school, because, you know, that's just, you have to always have the answer. You always have to have the question first, and then you find the answer. But that's the way that I'm learning with this app building right now. This is exactly like, I get the answer. It might be the wrong answer, but then I have to work through backwards to the point of, like, kind of the question. I don't know if that really makes sense, but kind of to the question. And then when I'm at that point, then I can look back and be like, oh no, that's the wrong answer, or that's the right answer, or, you know, and even I'll know what's the right answer when it works. And then the more times that I'm doing that, I start very, very super slow. Like, what is taking me since May, it's right now, like, almost November. It's taking me that amount of time to be at a stage where I can be like, I kind of think I kind of get this next level stuff, like how to make it a bit more pretty and a bit more fun, and, like, actually a lot more fun and a lot more pretty, and a lot more cool. So yeah, but it's like, it's nice because I've got to the stage, like I said, basically the core of everything is working, and so that means anyway I'm already at like next level with the app, so I can start to think about these things. So it was cool because, you know, I had the summer break, I had like these 6 weeks to go like wild into the thing. Got it to the point that was my goal for the summer break, to get it to the point that I could, you know, it was up on the app store and I could put it into people's hands when I went back to teaching after the summer break in September. Start getting the beta testers, start getting feedback, start, you know, talking with people, start showing them the thing, and get, you know, the feedback loop starting, and then you know, I'd hear what they say, and then I'd fix the thing, and you know, and then just put it out again next version. And that's been so amazing. And then now, like, you know, having, you know, 1.5, or it's actually been like a month, I think it's not that long, about a month time, like in that. And then I've had these like 2 weeks of the next holiday break where I have just, you know, time I can go in again and focus and just like reflect, really, like, you know, have the time and the space and the energy, because, you know, teaching obviously, like, it takes a lot of energy and time, that I can have that space to be like, you know, breathe when I need to breathe, do and go hard when I need to, and then step back and be, you know, have that whole, like, that's all possible when, you know, with a bit more, when you got a bit more time. Yeah, so it's really cool. And I feel, yeah, really inspired just to have had that that insight, and that, yeah, that I feel like I kind of like gone up a little notch in my learning, and I'm standing here and I'm just like, okay, like, you know, I said to ChatGPT, I'm like, okay, all right, so let's get some code from GitHub that makes sense so that we can look at it, and I want you to explain to me what every single line of that means, because this is what I want the thing to look like. So we had the little mock design that I'd helped them make for me, and so I've got that, and then I've got the GitHub code, and then I'm like, ChatGPT, we're gonna go through them because I want that to make this look like a thing when I open my phone and when everybody else opens their phone. That's what I want it to look like. So help me do that and help me understand how to do that so I can slowly get creative control. So if I can do this, man, that's like opened, like, you know, oh wow, that's good. That I'm so excited. I'm super excited because I think, yeah, just like saying all this, I think, okay, I'm gonna get on with the AI agent building, because first things first, I gotta make this the UI, like the interface for that particular page that where the agent's going to go into, and just that particular step, if I can show myself, or when I show myself that I've done that and how that goes, then I can apply that to everything else in the app, and that feels really exciting. So yes. Let's see how I go.